Hi, I'm Patricia Finney, also known as P.F. Chisholm, writer of the Sir Robert Carey books, which are all set in the 16th century, which is why I know something about the 16th century. And this is the Historical Novelist's Guide to Getting Up in the Morning. Except that actually we are the weird ones. For all of our ancestors, right up to the end of the 18th century, getting up in the morning was a particular experience. One way done it, we did it. Since then, we've got increasingly stranger. There was gas lighting, first of all, from the beginning of the 19th century, and then in 1879, Thomas Edison got the patent for an improved light bulb. The crucial word there is improved. They'd been tinkering around with light bulbs for about 50 years. He was the one who discovered how to make a light bulb that was commercially viable, that you could sell. That was a very great achievement, actually. But he did not invent the light bulb, sorry. Since then, we've got more and more divorced from nature, and I think the divorce happened earlier than that, but it certainly sped up. It was speeded up a lot by the fact that we no longer needed to pay any attention to the sun. It didn't matter anymore. We had light to keep us going in the evening, and we could switch the lights off in the morning if we didn't want to wake up with the sun, and we often don't. So how did people wake up before that time? Well, first of all, no alarm clocks, obviously. What did they have? Well, they had roosters. In England we call them cocks, but I'm going to go with roosters for some reason. And the roosters would start to crow just as light was coming into the sky, not when sunrise actually happened, but about half an hour to an hour before that. So that is when most people got up. And probably a good 40% of them hated getting up. I hate getting up in the morning. I never feel good for at least half an hour. I expect most of them were the same. Some of them were the same anyway. They got up, and usually the first thing they did was they said a prayer, very often kneeling. Of course, in Catholic days, before the English Reformation, the prayers were probably Latin, the Ave Maria, the Pater Noster, maybe the Gloria, and they would just say them by rote, though they had a good notion of what they meant. After the Reformation, it's very interesting. People were still encouraged to say the Our Father, but they were also encouraged to come up with their own prayers, to speak to God themselves instead of using words somebody else had made up centuries before. There was quite a big difference there. After they had prayed, then usually they would get dressed, if they needed to get dressed. Some people just slept in their clothes. And they would also go out to work. They'd go and do the first jobs of the day. Women, generally speaking, got up slightly earlier than men because they normally had to go and milk the cows or the goats, and they had to get on with getting everything ready. Did they have breakfast? Not immediately, probably not right away. Certainly Elizabeth I had breakfast. She had breakfast after she had been to chapel. She went to chapel every morning, and she had a special private room in the chapel so she could get on with her papers while she was being holy. But what she had for breakfast was pretty much the same as absolutely everybody, except the very poorest of the poor. She had bread. Elizabeth had slightly finer bread. She probably had sausage or cheese, some protein, and she had butter, and of course she had ale, small ale, which means quite weak ale. Ale is beer without the hops, and small ale is very weak. It's only about 2 to 3% by volume, so it's about as strong as American beer. And they had, that was it. That was the getting up routine for most people most of the time, until the 18th century, end of the 18th century. So that is my story. I'm getting photobombed by a cat at the moment. That is my first thing, my first historical novelist guide to getting up. Scroll down, leave a comment. You'll make me very happy if you sign up for my email list on patriciafinney.com. And this is Patricia Finney and P.F. Chisholm saying farewell.